Hello guys, and welcome to this week's video, which is going to be all around sugar addiction and how to wean your kid off sugar, sweeties, things like that, like especially after Christmas, when Christmas chocolates are on the tree, when sweeties are left, right and center, then every stocking, then every present that your relative far in the family has given to your children. Today I'm going to discuss the things that I think you can do to help your child stop having so much sugar, so sweeties and chocolate at home. Big disclaimer, I am not a scientist, I'm not a nutritionist, I am simply a mum doing my day-to-day kind of things. I am going to give you advice, but if you want to take it, please do. If you wanted to actually find out a little bit more scientific reasons why to do it, see a nutritionist, see your GP if there's any issues. And basically, I'm going to be talking about the kinds of things that worked for me and my family. If you are new here, I'm Alina Ghost. I do lots of mum videos, so I'd love to have you with me. If you are interested, please do hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button as well so that you get notified when those videos come out. I do lots of stuff from how-tos about toddlers and things, to clean with me's, and lots of makeovers because we recently moved into a new house. I say recently, it's coming up to a year soon, so I can't wait to share another house tour with you guys and show you the progress that we've made and the rooms that we haven't really touched as well. I do these in my spare time and I also work full-time, so I do appreciate any like or comment that you have for this video. So I do appreciate like a thumbs up if you like this video. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. The first thing I noticed that we do with my son, who is coming up to 3 years old, is actually have a bit of a section for him, whether it's your pantry, whether it's your cupboard. Basically it's a section in the kitchen that they can go to that is actually in their so height as well, so that they can just go in there and help themselves. I've noticed that that has changed a lot. So at Christmas, obviously it was a lot more sugary things and things that shouldn't actually be in his snack drawer. So basically that's the first thing that I personally started with. I made sure that there are a lot more healthy options in there. So from like fruit pastels that you get for like usually babies, and they come in little packs as well that you can get different ones. You can get like smoothies in like a solid shape, or pretzels are a great option actually. Nuts, so although they're high in fats, they're actually natural fats, so I would actually prefer to give him nuts. He's not allergic to nuts, so make sure that your child isn't allergic to any of these things. There are plenty of other options like wafers that you can choose as well, or there's like fruit stars that I used to get when he was like tiny, so I'm bringing that back and making sure that he's actually substituting his craving of like that sugar with these things. They are low in sugar, they're much healthier for kids basically than like Haribos, for example. Dare I say, it's one of the favorites in the family, especially with the husband. But have a think about crisps as well. You can actually buy like wafers and low sugar crisps rather than the usual stuff that you buy as well. So that brings me to a really nice point, and that is about actually listing out the amount of sugar that each packet has, so that you become aware of how much sugar they actually consume. So it's actually about opening your eyes to what you are offering your child and actually cutting that back. So yeah, that would definitely be like an easy, quick option that I would recommend myself, especially because I just pop it into our weekly shop and then it comes to the door for me, and it just seems like a healthier option that I can substitute to the usual stuff. The next thing I want to mention is the fact that I know how terrible I am with like having to have something sweet after I have a big meal. No matter what meal it is, I'm very much a sweet tooth. I like a dessert. I like to have something sweet and nice and like a treat after the meal. So in this case, if you are also in a little bit of a rut like this, I'd recommend actually using fruits as a really good option to just like substitute like sweets and chocolate. So when they want something sweet, instead turn to fruits rather than all of these like man-produced things. Like the fruits are so natural, they're full of sugar that are healthy, so healthy sugars that are much easier for our gut to process. So I definitely do recommend, like, apples are a great option. You can get sour apples, you can get sweet apples, so no matter what your child likes, you can offer that to them, because we very much like our green apples that are a little bit more on that sour side. So blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. I can reel off a lot of fruits. I especially like dried apricots, really good option. I don't usually give more than like a handful though. Just be aware that they're very fibrous, they're very good to help them go number 2, so just be aware of that. But we always have grapes in the fridge, keeping them fresh, but basically it's something that we like to snack on as well. Don't forget to cut them in half or in quarters, just to make sure that it's not a choking hazard. Quite a quirky one, I'd say. A quick tip is the fact that you can just have honey in your cupboard and just give them like a spoonful. It's so sweet, but it's so natural. It's full of goodness. So I definitely do recommend a honey, which is a good option for other things as well. So for example, if you are doing a breakfast and you want to sweeten it up, instead of buying already made porridge, which is full of stuff, like extra things that we don't actually need, what I do is literally put porridge with some milk and then add a spoonful of honey. Just one thing to note is the fact that babies under 1 year old should not be having honey, so just be aware when you are actually giving it to them when they become toddlers. Another option to cut down sweets is literally to do just that. You cut down the amount of quantities that you give to your child. So for example, we have been potty trained. The way we did it is by offering him some sweets if he goes to the bathroom. So we brought this back basically recently because he just decided to start going in his pants again, but that's another story. Essentially, it's about still offering him that treat, but actually instead of giving him 4 sweeties, I will actually literally take out the Haribo and say 1, 2, 3. That's it. Say thank you. Okay, off you go. So basically it's about cutting down the quantities in a similar sort of way when they say, if you want to like lose weight for yourself, you cut down on the size of your meals and stuff. Obviously don't go dramatic and stuff, but it's just a matter of understanding that the less you actually give of those sweeties, the easier it is to lower that quantities rather than just go like full, like what is it called, cold turkey basically. So yeah, cut that down. In a similar sort of vein, I was just going to mention around like having other options that aren't just like sweeties and chocolate, but for example, something that works really well for us is actually ice lollies. If you think about it, most ice lollies are literally just like squash but frozen. So that's something to think about. If they are more likely to have like an ice lolly, which is like a frozen drink, for example, it's a lot better than like one sugary, I don't know, like Kinder Egg, for example, you know. Personally, it works really well for us. We absolutely love our ice lollies, so I hope this one works out for you guys as well. Next thing is the fact that usually when they snack, when these kids want a sweetie, when they want a chocolate, it is because they are hungry. So something that I wanted to mention is the fact that you should have a really good, strong breakfast. Something that we do, and I've shortly mentioned this already, is literally have porridge that is just like porridge oats with some milk, honey sometimes, you know, sometimes add some cinnamon to it, just give it a little bit more flavor. But the fact that we have that with some yogurt, with some fruit, it just makes it a lot more like a healthier option. I personally use cereal, so like from Cheerios and Boulders and things like that. We only have that on the weekends because I personally think that that's like a treat because it's so like processed, in my opinion. I actually go the extra mile just to make that porridge in the mornings. Literally takes what, a minute to put in the microwave. The other thing I do is actually mash up a banana with it, like my favorite thing. What I'm trying to say is actually keep them full and full of all this goodness. The idea is the fact that these oats actually keep you from being hungry. It goes further, like the energy, like the carbohydrates, I believe. Let's not get scientific, but basically it just makes you fuller for longer. So I personally find that I can actually wait until lunchtime to have my lunch without needing to snack in the middle. So it's a great way to keep them full, and it goes for every meal. Just make sure that they are full before they're having these sweeties and chocolates. Don't get me wrong, doesn't always happen, and you do need to give them a treat, but that's why the other options are also good, where you can substitute them with other things. Look, we're mums, we're parents. Sometimes in a perfect world it doesn't always work that way, so guys, we are doing our best, aren't we? Another good way to keep your children from snacking really horrible sugary things, sweeties and chocolates, is by making your own desserts. So for example, I can make my own banana bread and actually cut down the sugar that's in there, and it's just going to be just as tasty. Don't get me wrong, I don't do this every week. I used to make it every weekend, but that was before I had kids. Basically, the idea is that we make it like once a month or something. I know a TikToker actually who has 10 kids and actually does it every morning for her 10 kids. I think she fosters them, but it's just such an interesting story. If you know any other stories or you want to share anything that you do, I'd love to hear in the comments below. I can't wait to read those. Anyway, homemade stuff are always better, especially because you can lower that sugar levels as like a fraction of what the shop bought ones are. So definitely worth having to think about if you can make anything yourself, maybe freeze it and then bring it out later. This tip is mainly around drinks and what they drink. So fizzy drinks are no-go in this family. I actually grew up knowing that fizzy drinks aren't very good for you, so I didn't even drink squash when I was younger. Maybe it was just the culture, it was mostly like teas. I grew up in a Russian family, in case you're interested, and I'm currently in UK Essex. But basically, for me, it feels like only special occasions. You only have this on your birthday, or you have it during Christmas. So basically, cut down or don't have any fizzy drinks at all. Actually, it's horrible for your gut health. So I've been watching a YouTuber called Josie from Fashion Mumbler, and she talks about this a lot. There's actually a great book about gut health called Spoon Fed, which I'm totally going to check out. But basically she's saying that like the fizzy drinks really kill all of your microbes or whatever's in your gut to basically be able to even process these foods. So definitely not a very good drink. However, let's talk about squash a little bit. For me personally, I still feel like even though it says low sugar or no sugar within these squashes, I personally still prefer water. I want him to know that water is best, and then like everything else is a treat. Even squash is a treat. So me and my husband actually have not arguments, but like tiffs about it quite a lot, because I'm like, oh, but it's got sugar in it. But he's like, no, it says no sugar. But I'm like, well, it's got sweetener, which is just as bad, if not even worse. So basically it's just about being conscious what you give to your child, even when it comes to like the liquid form and not just sweeties and chocolate. The next tip I'm going to suggest is an easy one, and that is just simply don't have any of these snacks at home, so that you can't go to them. Not you, not your kids. Basically just don't have them in the house, and that's the easiest way to like not have it. However, that doesn't work as easily as you think. You can go to the shop and you actually can buy it, or you will do the opposite. You won't have it in the house and then you binge like eat it. So personally, I'm not a believer of like going cold turkey on anything. So I do think that you can have a treat once a day, right? But like I definitely think that it's something to think about. For some families it might work for you, so give it a go by actually not having anything in the house. This next point I wanted to mention is the fact that it's not just good for your kids but also for you, because exercise is a great way from keeping you from snacking. So basically, if they want a snack or something or chocolate, have a think about actually getting them out of the house and doing something. A lot of the time we eat and snack out of boredom. So it's about going out there, doing something fun, going to the park, and not thinking about food, because you're not like stuck in and you don't know what else to do basically, and you're like, well, it's out of habit, I'm going to start eating a snack. So yeah, get out and about, do some exercise, have some fun. It's definitely a great way to keep that appetite at bay. Last but not least, this is probably the main point. They look up to you. They look up to you to see how you do things, how you live your life. So if you are snacking, so will they. So have a think about what you have in front of them, because it's okay to like sneak a chocolate here and there or like a sweetie when they've gone to bed, but have a think about like the usual things that you do. So for example, for me, again, I usually like to have something sweet at the end of a meal, which isn't a great like routine that I've got myself into, but it's a habit that I just like to do. So have a think about, if you've got any habits of your own, how you can actually change that up a bit. So I'm not stopping that. I'm just, instead of having like a chocolate or a sweetie, I'm going to have some fruits and some yogurt instead, maybe drizzled with some honey too. So super sweet but super healthy at the same time. Basically, guys, if you want a change of routine, it starts with you. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that these are useful to you. As I said, it's tried and tested. I've done that with my family, with my baby boy, who's actually coming up to 3 and not a baby anymore. But basically, it's something that works for us, and I hope that it works for you too. I'd love to find out more about you guys, and if you're doing anything at home to help cut down that sugar addiction in your household. So do let me know what you think down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video as well. So thanks so much for joining, and until next time. Bye guys.